Emblem Warriors.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out what he just said. I figured that I would want to take a look at this while I'm waiting for Super Mario Odyssey to come out, and as we all know from the last few years on this channel, I am quite a big fan of the Musou games, which is Dynasty Warriors, which is Warriors, which is this. So let's just get into it, shall we? Notably, there's something a little bit odd going on out here. It says language settings, and I thought this meant this was how you change the voice language while you're not actually in like a save file. But for some reason, you can't actually change your voice language at all, despite there being an option for it that's grayed out. I don't even know. Let's just go and have a look at all that real quick. So, I have played 4 hours of this, apparently. I'm not sure how I did that, but apparently I did. And there's really not that much to see out here. Like, you've got access to your two manage all your guys, their weapons, their abilities and stuff screens out here already. So there's really not that much else to see. We can go to the Records Hall to see a few things, including the Wario Gallery, which is how you can listen to their voice, check out their 3D models and stuff. I've only got the one unlocked. You actually have to unlock them. I don't know why the options are here if you have to unlock them, but yeah, there you go. You can just have a look. And this is what the game looks like in 1080p, by the way. There's a reason why I'm telling you this. It looks decent enough, I guess, but it's at 30 frames. We'll get to why that's a thing shortly. If you go to the illustration gallery, you can see that it's doing that Dynasty Warriors spin-off thing again, where there's a bunch of little mini goals hidden in the stages that you can do to unlock parts of an illustration. You've got your sound test, you've got your movie gallery, which we'll probably get to see 1 or 2 of when we go into a story stage. You've got a badge list, which is basically just achievements. Really nothing too out of the ordinary. And you've got your tutorial stuff. You can actually tap your amiibo to the controller itself to get like extra gold or extra weapons or stuff, but I've already done that with all the amiibo I have today, so I can't do that. So let's go and have a look at some of the game settings. The game style is somewhat interesting. If you put it on classic, anyone you lose in the story mode won't immediately come back in the next stage. There is a way to revive them, but I'm not entirely sure what that is yet. However, I haven't lost anyone yet. And I haven't even come close. That's a little bit of an issue. You can turn off level up windows and mid-battle cutscenes. I much prefer having these off because it keeps things nice and fast. You can disable the mission start briefings, which is nice if you want that, but I actually don't mind keeping it up because it alerts me to when a new objective is available. Display settings. This one's interesting. So if you're playing in handheld mode, you've got 720p and 30 frames per second, which is okay, not the worst thing in the world. But if you're in TV mode, which I am right now, you can either put it on quality, which will be 1080p 30, or performance, which is 720p but 60 frames per second, which is much smoother, and it actually stays pretty stable, and I'm much more of a fan of playing in performance mode than quality mode. You can also turn the guide windows on or off. I just have them on automatic so that only the more important ones pop up. And apparently you can change the system voice, except you can't. That doesn't do anything yet. I assume you unlocked that. And there's your voice language setting. Is this DLC or something? Because I don't know why you can't change it. It's just grayed out. Like, I have no reason. I went and checked for DLC when I bought the game, and nothing there. Don't know why. Controller settings are kind of annoying. You've got the vertical and horizontal camera controls, rumble, and you can remap pretty much all of the buttons that you want, which is actually pretty nice when you think about it. My only problem with that is, with the controls I should say, is that you can't change the speed of the camera, and the speed of the camera is really sluggish by default, which is frustrating as hell. And you've got all your volume settings here. Once again, not a major deal. So, we've got 2 main modes, and I'll go and play a mode before I bore you with the rest of the menus. And basically, I'm going to show off history mode first, even though I'm not actually going to fight a battle in it, because I'm just going to show you how this works. So, basically the idea is you've got these standalone battles which are represented by regular dudes just standing out in the middle of nowhere, and if you select one, you can go fight that battle. And once you fought battles against certain sets of enemies, new enemies will appear, and then more enemies will appear, and you'll just have to keep going through the battles, battle by battle by battle, until you pull it off. However, the battles are actually really fucking boring. So that you've got timed attack. Kill as many enemies as you can within a certain time limit. There's another timed attack. There's a timed onslaught. Targeted elimination. Go and kill the commander of the place. You might need to take over a couple of forts in the process. Ally rescue. You have to go and save some dudes being attacked, then you have to go kill the bad guy. And that's pretty much it. Like, seriously, look at all these mission types. It's pretty much all the same, except for Fort Siege, but I assume that's just some sort of, defense. Like, mission, where you just have to hold a position for a few minutes. If this is what you're gonna give me for the first map, don't be surprised if I get extremely bored and just give up on it. Now, I remember playing Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, and it was way better about its adventure mode than this, because at least it had all the items and stuff to keep you interested. This game just seems to be battle by battle by battle, and I admit I haven't done very much of this mode yet, but 2 of the timed onslaught battles I've had to fight so far have been 10 minutes long. I am not going to go through any more of those timed onslaught battles, because they are boring as sin, even for a Warriors game. And apparently there's 5 of these maps that you can go through. I've only got the first one unlocked, because I think it's determined by how far you are in the story. Which we're going to go have a look at now. Pretty basic stuff. You just have a bunch of individual missions that you can go play. If you come back after you beat them, you go into free mode. There are a couple of other things you can get, including Anna's Mementos, which, as I said before, are part of, like, the little, a part of the concept art, or whatever the illustrations are in the gallery. And you can change the difficulty here, but that's pretty much it. I've been playing on hard this entire time, because I've been bored as hell. So... let's just, actually, you know, just before I do that, I just want to be sure I'm safe about this, because...
what's my task?
No, this is the convoy, I want to go to the camp.
Welcome.
Because the leveling in this game is actually surprisingly slow. Thankfully, I have a bunch of gold that I can use to spend to level my dudes up. Actually, I don't think level 22 will be that bad. I need higher levels for pretty much everybody. Of course, it works like in pretty much every Warriors game you can imagine. It's just the highest level dude you have determines how far you can level them up, and of course it costs more the more levels you want to level up, and the higher the levels are.
Now I can pull my weight.
I'm just making sure everyone's leveled up, because I'm not entirely sure what group of dudes I'm going to have until I actually go into the fight. So the more people I have leveled up to max, the better. Or at least the highest, as high as they can go. You've got your individual stats over there, but they're all pretty self-explanatory. So let's go and actually do this fight, shall we? I'll shut up, because we're probably about to get a voiced cutscene.
Couldn't come out on top. My energy is best spent elsewhere. I must hurry back and report to Lord Leo. The princesses have gotten themselves into a compromising situation, it seems.
Niles, I've been waiting. Were you able to locate my sisters?
I did, but it appears they've both become quite smitten with the enemy.
The enemy? You mean the Hoshidans?
They don't look like Hoshidans, though it's possible they're allied.
They must have used some cowardly trick to have captured Camilla. Niles, I have a task for you. Come here and look.
A task? I'm at your service.
Too close! Niles, back up! Just look where I'm pointing.
If that is your desire, then I will obey.
That's the 3rd time today. Never mind. Listen to my plan.
So your brother Xander leads the Norian army? An army should be easy to find. And you had mentioned other siblings as well, Camilla?
You're correct, Princess Lissa.
Hey, I told you that just Lissa is fine. There's no need to call me princess.
It feels wrong to address royalty from another kingdom that way.
I really can't stand it, though.
What a stubborn little girl you are. Very well. I'll call you Lissa.
Thank you. In that case...
I don't know who you are, but I will not let you get away with your lives after what you've done!
Oh, Leo has found us.
And has us completely surrounded.
He's really worked up. There's no talking him down when he's like this.
It seems we've no choice but to fight him. Can I ask for your help?
I suppose that's what it has come to. I'll just be careful not to go overboard.
Camilla, we can't do that! I won't allow you and Leo to fight each other.
Relax, Elise. I'm not going to hurt our dear brother. But he has carelessly jumped to quite a rash conclusion. I'll just remind him of how terrifying that can really be. That's all.
yeah, that's pretty much it. The English voice acting in this game isn't very good at all, I gotta say. It sounds a little too over the top and just a little bit ridiculous. I'm pretty serious about that, actually. It's really strange just how silly it is. But anyway, here we are in the deployment menu. Now, of course, this being a Fire Emblem game, and I will admit I have no experience in Fire Emblem, so if you think that you need the opinion of someone who's played Fire Emblem before to tell you if you want to play Fire Emblem Warriors, go somewhere else. As for me though, well, let me just see if I can figure out what we're doing here. I don't actually want Camilla here because she is way too weak. But unfortunately I can't swap out anyone else for her whatsoever, so I guess I'm stuck with her for the time being. Damn it. So, smart thing I should do first is go to the menu and optimize all the equipment, just to make sure everybody will be okay. Right, so as I was saying, the way you play Fire Emblem Warriors is, it's basically just the same system as, oh god, I think it was Dynasty Warriors Next, was it? On the Vita? Where you just order people around, more or less.
Yes?
There are a few other systems that you can engage in here, but more or less the idea is you just send people around to do dirty work. More or less, you just give them orders and they'll go and pull them off, whether it be to defend an area, attack an area, you name it, they'll probably go and do it.
Sure thing.
Nothing too out of the ordinary, and you can pick them to do whatever you think is right. Oh, I can actually order her to do something, right. Gotta send her somewhere where she's not gonna be in too much danger, I guess. So I guess we'll just send her down here as well. Right, I don't know what I'm gonna do with Camilla because she's so bloody weak right now. I guess I'll just send her over there. So, you can order people around. What else can we do here? Honestly, not that much. You can change their AI to attack and auto-heal if it feels necessary, or at least in this case, you'll just be on defend. You can't go to the camp. You can see Anna's conditions, so if I did defeat 1,000 enemies, she'll just pop up on the map and I can go say hi. Your battle situation is your objectives, guides, your tutorials, there's your settings, very basic. So we'll just start the battle right away. There are a couple of other orders you can do, like you can send them to link up and do stuff like that, but we'll explain that once we get into the actual game. Loading times aren't that bad. See, there it goes. I am playing this off the SD card, but, well, there you go. So, here's what the cutscenes look like.
You cannot escape. In this void, where moon and stars hold no dominion, the light can do nothing. Your fate is sealed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the 3D cutscenes. They come really infrequently, and they're just like there. Walking across lava actually hurts me, but I found out that spamming dodge actually massively reduces the amount of health you lose on it. So I don't. I know that seems like an exploit that they should have patched a while back. But anyway, there we go. So this is Fire Emblem Warriors. There's my mission. I've got to defeat Niles apparently. But, yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors. It is literally Warriors. It is Dynasty Warriors. It is... well, it's not really Samurai Warriors. It's an earlier Samurai Warriors. It is a Warriors game. It is... and I hate to say this too, it is the most generic Warriors game since Dynasty Warriors 8. And I just... how do I put this? Well, let's just go over the basic mechanics and maybe you'll get the general idea. So, here's how the mechanics work in this game. You've got a strong attack and a light attack that you can string together in different ways in order to... the water's rising. Probably because I took over the space here. Geyser has cooled the lava on the east side. Very well. Right, have I got anyone? I don't have anyone over there, do I? But I do have, Camilla... screw it, I'll send her up there, too. Oh, right, we have problems coming into the main base, but I'll order her back. But yeah, basically, alright, so yeah, you got your light attack and your heavy attack, and those are your pretty basic things as well. You do have you also do have what are basically Musou Attacks. I'm not gonna do any sort of sugarcoating. They are literally just Musou attacks. You press the A button once you've got a full meter there, and you do this. Yep, it's a Musou attack, alright. I mean, what else could it possibly be? Like, it really doesn't add anything. It just has sword being swung around, more or less. Or, you know, whatever weapon you have at the time. There are a couple of other things you can do, which are slightly more unique, but we'll get into them shortly. You do also have the ability to dodge on the B button, but it's not massively necessary? Question mark? You do have a couple of other things, so you can actually change what characters you've got by pressing the up or down on the directional pad. And this will let you swap between characters, and the different characters do work in somewhat different ways. However, there are some conditions, let me put it that way, to all this. So, you have a few things that are a massive pain in the ass to deal with.
We're in the clear.
Like troops that are just running around constantly and all that.
Mission complete.
And you do have a couple of other mechanics as well. Like you saw that I held the R button, pressed the B button. That does what's called a link up. And what link ups do is they give you access to a couple of extra abilities. So you get a shield, which will protect you from a hit once it's full up. And if you hold ZR and press the Y button, you'll get extra attack off to the side in order to catch someone off guard, more or less, right? You can also swap between the two characters you've got by holding the R button and pressing the X button, but the ZR button and pressing the X button. But for some peculiar reason, I can't actually do it right now. Won't actually let me. It's a bit odd. Fine, I'll let her back out. She can do what she wants. Link-up abilities also change your moves, so attacks make them a bit stronger and more powerful. You do have the weapon trifecta. That is in Fire Emblem, so I can't remember the exact way it goes, but it's like swords are strong against axes, axes are strong against lances, lances are strong against swords, or something like that, you know? But that's basically what Dynasty Warriors 8 did with Heaven, Earth, and what was it, Man? Man was the third one, wasn't it? A bit of an odd third alignment there. But basically in this game it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, even on hard difficulty you can still do enough damage to a one you're weak against just by banging up against them constantly. And not to mention that, considering that you can't change the weapons of any of the characters, they're stuck with the weapons they're stuck with in canon, which makes sense, right? But it just means that if you've got a little bit of a problem like this, you just need to go and find another person, because the game, unless you pause the game and just like go and hover over someone and they'll tell you what they're weak or strong against, it's kind of hard to tell what you're going to be weak or strong against just by walking up to it, which kind of sucks, honestly, just because it means that you have to spend a lot of effort either trying to find someone who is strong to it, or you just have to bang up against the wall. I know that's a bit of a nitpick, that one, but it really is quite annoying, especially since, due to the way orders work in this game, your mates you'll be all over the place. So you do need to...
They're in trouble. We've got to help.
Oh great, Camilla's in trouble now as well.
No, I must.
You'll have dudes all over the bloody place, so what you have to do is you just have to hope that you've got the right person in the right place. Which kind of sucks. Alright, we'll link up with her, because why not? And we might as well take out Nars while we're here. Not doing very much damage, because that's kind of what the problem with this game is. We'll get to that. There's a couple more mechanics to talk about. Like, you've got your basic lock on. Oh my god, I'm getting hurt real bad. Okay. Why is that happening? I'll swap out. Niles is probably ridiculously strong, because that's just what they're doing in the campaign mode. They're just making everyone ridiculously strong for some reason. Kind of frustrating, honestly.
Now I'll have to amuse myself with this.
I mean, like, I could probably go and find someone who's a bit weaker. Right, problem. Who do we have there? We've got... Right, hang on. Camila?
What is it?
You need to go and... Well, you can do some things you like. If I go to Liana, I can say pair up as support. So that'll take her off the battlefield for a bit and make sure she doesn't die, which is nice. There are a couple of other mechanics I haven't talked about yet, like there's consumable items that get refilled at the end of every fight. The one I've got right now on the character I'm currently controlling is the heal ability, which will just heal everyone within a certain radius. And there's a couple other ones too, like there's health potions, and I haven't really seen any other ones, honestly. It takes a while for you to unlock them.
Lord Leo.
So yeah, now the main protagonist, you get to pick who you play as a protagonist, which is kind of nice. There's a guy and a girl, and it's slightly different, but at the same time, it doesn't really seem like it affects that much. I wouldn't expect it to. I'm just saying it doesn't really have that much of an effect on things. Let's see. Nope. She does not have enough health for me to risk that. So, what do I think about Fire Emblem Warriors just as a Warriors game? Because as I said before, I have no interest, well, it's not that I have no interest in Fire Emblem, we just don't have the bloody time to play the damn games. I imagine I'll actually have some sort of an excuse when I bring out a full Fire Emblem title. But, for now, anyway, I have basically no experience with Fire Emblem, so... Oh, that bridge is coming down. Where did that come down? Over there on the left, okay. I've got my other team roughly over that way already, so it's not like it's going to matter too much. But yeah, what do I think of Fire Emblem Warriors? Well, as I said, as someone who hasn't played Fire Emblem games much, but is into Warriors as a concept, oh Jesus. But is into Warriors as a concept, and you know, as a series as well, oh dear, we've got a submission coming up, which is basically exactly what you expect. It's just defeat this, or things get harder for you. That's basically what it is. That's basically what it is in its entirety.
I see enemy reinforcements.
But yeah, as I was saying. So, as someone who is a fan of Warriors games, just in general, and enjoys playing them, well, what do I think about this one? Yes, they defeat the Cavalier to stop reinforcements. Unfortunately, I'm not even anywhere near there right now. But you know what? I think I'll just swap and see if I can actually make this work, although I'm going to have to be very lucky to actually get there. That is just a more impressive heal.
Ooh, it's dangerous up ahead.
Let's not waste time dodging. Oh, you do also have an Awakening ability, which is literally just Rage from Dynasty Warriors. You're stronger for a bit, and then you do a massive Musou attack at the end, and it does a ton of damage. Like, seriously. Okay, the Cavalier is dead, so we can... Actually, what base is it that controls the lava flow for this part? I thought no, it's this one here, isn't it? I assume it is. Let's go get it.
Controls the dragon. We must defeat him before we can cool the lava.
Might as well show off how Awakening works, I guess.
That's our only option?
But yeah, as I was saying, as someone who likes Warriors, what do I think about Fire Emblem Warriors? Well, the same bloody problem I had with... Oh god, that's a lot of dudes. Thankfully, I've got a spare Musou attack I can spam. That's the Awakening attack. You can set it off early if you really need to. And I killed a bunch of dudes, and if you're in Awakening for long enough to kill enough dudes, you get a few bonuses off the top of it. Okay, where's Leo? Oh god, someone's gone and conquered that, and we've got Anna over there for some reason. Lisa's still over there dealing with that. What do I have over there? Right, I should go and take care of that immediately. Oh no, that is Anna, isn't it? Yeah, there is Anna, because I got 1,000 kills. KOs, but I'm not going to be able to get over there in time. Actually, I am. I'll just order her to attack the Northwest Geyser Fort, and then I'll swap and head on down.
I like those profit margins.
But yeah, I've played a lot of these games, right? And so I end up looking at a game like Fire Emblem Warriors, and the problem with it is that all the mechanics are just really similar. Now, I've said this before about a few Warriors games, both non-Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Warriors Orochi, and like the spin-off titles, like this one, Hyrule, the Warriors of Arslan, although I don't actually own that one. Why is that the first one I think of? One Piece Pyro Warriors, Shin Gundam Musou. The difference here is that I like seeing differences in the Warriors formula, because getting different games and franchises into the series usually means that you end up with neat ways to play around with the game's mechanics. Like, God, what would be the first thing I can think of that would be relevant? Like Zelda, where you got bombs, for example, and they had the same effect they did in the regular game. Just little things like that. But even Fire Emblem doesn't feel any different from your extremely stereotypical Warriors game. And I'm talking like Dynasty Warriors 8 era Dynasty Warriors, because it just doesn't have that much in the way of mechanical interest. It has your Musou Attack, your Rage Attack, some consumable items you can use out in the field, which is also something that was in the other thing. The only even remotely interesting thing about this game is the link-up mode. And the link-up mode is more or less just an excuse to have a couple of dudes hang around, because here's a dual, I don't even remember what they call it in this game. It's a Musou Attack. It just doesn't change anything. I guess that's kind of my problem. Like, I know that sounds a bit... It makes me sound like an asshole the more I think about it, actually. The one thing I don't like about this Warriors game is that it's too much like Warriors, but that really is a problem, because it really is too much like Warriors. That really is the massive issue with it. It's just Warriors again. It doesn't do anything particularly interesting. It has all the basics. It has all the stuff that you would expect from a decent Warriors game, but doesn't do anything interesting with it. The actual gameplay mechanics are a bit dull and uninteresting, because it's Musou, and what Musou needs is a little bit extra on top, like a little bit more flavor to really kick in and be interesting, right? Well, unfortunately, this game just does not have that. Let's get him in there. Sure, it's kind of neat that you can link up for an extra attack or two and a more powerful Musou attack, but that's literally just all it does. It's just an extra attack or two. Like, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's neat that you have that little history mode that can take you through, like, battles from the Fire Emblem history. The problem with the battles being that they're really uninteresting, because half of them end up being just really dull, recycled battle types. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. It's interesting that you can play this game on classic mode and play through the game and actually stand a chance of losing people for more than one stage. However, considering that the game is actually really bloody easy, even on hard mode, I mean, like, look at me, I'm ripping through these dudes. Sure, it's taken a while, because it seems to be that the only thing that's really harder about this mode is the game's... The only thing that's harder about this mode is the game's stats. Like, everybody takes more hits and deals out more damage on hard mode. That seems to be the only way that this game is actually hard. Which is frustrating as hell. Because I would love to... I'd love to actually have Dynasty Warriors games be decently hard again. Like, I remember playing Dynasty Warriors 8, and either I'm completely crazy, or the AI in that game actually did get a little bit better as you upped the difficulty. And, you know, you were able to actually replay higher difficulties with high quality loot and stuff like that. In this game, it's just easy, medium, and hard. And easy, medium, and hard just do stat boosts, depending on how hard you want the game. That really is pretty much it. I mean, it just doesn't do anything interesting. That's the problem with it. I feel like I'm playing a reskin of Dynasty Warriors 8 more than I am anything else. And that's my big issue with it. Alright, in we go for the final fight. I might as well do Awakening again.
You have some nerve ambushing us.
Although this is going to end as soon as I finish off Leo, so
I'm only here because you have my siblings.
I probably just want to do this. Make you not sit here for as long as you need to. I mean, you've got Dynasty Warriors 9 coming, and that's doing the biggest, like, the biggest upheaval to the Warriors formula since, like, 3, more or less, because they're taking the entire bloody game open world and making it way more dynamic than it was previously.
Leo, compose yourself
And
let us explain.
then you look at a game like Fire Emblem Warriors, which literally feels like a reskin of a game that came out, I'm pretty sure, at least 5 years ago at this point. So, I just can't help but wonder why. Like, they could have done something really cool. Like, they could have made an actual tactical game out of it. They could have made it... They could have done something. I admit, not too familiar with Fire Emblem, but surely they could have done something
We'd pull it off.
other than this. Which literally just feels like a reskin. Oh yeah, if you play on hard, you get extra gold. So that's exactly what I got. You also have an MVP reward. Here's your weapons. They have all the abilities and stuff that you might expect. These are your materials. You pick them up just by defeating dudes. And there's my little bit of the concept art or illustrations. And you do have support levels here,
We can't stop
which
now.
is from Fire Emblem Warriors. But I do believe this is also a mechanic back in Warriors Orochi. So it doesn't really feel that original when it comes to playing Warriors.
I wanna get to know-
It feels nice to bond.
Also, the voice clips never change. They all say exactly the same bloody thing. Oh yeah, I finally got more blessings at the temple. I was wondering when I was gonna have more than the first 2. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire state of things. We head up the camp now, because it's about time we got around to this. Everybody is upgraded individually in this, which is kind of annoying. So you have attack, defense, and boost crests, and they all do roughly the same thing, as in they all give you a new ability or something that you can do. I can apply them by using materials and money. So as you can see, if I get 1, 14, 28 of that, I can create that quest, and also costs a little bit of money, but you can just apply quests pretty much
Success.
to anything you want, and they all have minor effects. It's all pretty basic stuff when you think about it. Like, moderate increases recovery, moderately increases recovery, I can't speak today. Decreased damage from everything, and you've also got boost crests, including one particular one up here, which is the Surge crest, which you need a Master Seal to fill in. I do actually have a character I filled in a Master Seal with, and it just gives you more pins. Like, that's all it does. So, I've got plenty of badges down here to get, and over here to get as well. I have a 7th regular attack now, and a 6th strong attack. But that's basically it. This is...
You sure?
You just have
You sure?
a ton of badges and a ton of resource grinding to do. The resources aren't really that interesting because it's literally just stuff you get at random, except for the Master Crests, of course, but that means you just have to go and find them, which isn't too hard. I've already seen where at least 3 are at this point, so it's not particularly difficult, but doing it for every character, gotta say, bit of a pain. But it really is just basic. Wait for your resources to accumulate and then spend, spend, spend. It doesn't really require any thought put into it. You can reforge your weapons, so you can add attributes that you've previously taken out into another weapon.
Can't do that.
So yeah, I can forge this here. Weapon drops of higher quality. There you go. And of course, you've got weapons that have different levels of strength and all that. You do actually have to upgrade your characters so that they have the ability to carry around the higher class weapons, which is annoying. You can also remove certain attributes, and then you can put them back on later. Oh no, you can't put them back on later. Sorry, what the hell am I thinking? I'm thinking of a different game. But it costs 50,000 gold to take an attribute off, and I don't know why you would want to pay that. You can also appraise attributes.
You sure?
So there you go. I don't plan on playing this game very much longer. Don't worry. I'm not going to worry about spending 50,000 gold. You can come to the temple to give yourself blessings, which will just like increase the chances of something or the quality. You get the general idea. The description's right there on screen. However, it costs materials. it costs a pretty large amount of materials. So if you want to be saving up for your badges, you probably don't want blessings, I'll put it that way. And we've already seen the training grounds. This is literally just how you increase your characters to the... This is literally just how you get your characters up to higher levels about equal to the characters you have at the moment. So we're going to play one more map, because I've got a few more things I would like to say. So we're just going to hop into the scenario immediately. I'll let you watch the cutscene and all that.
We've almost reached the dragon's table. I wonder what Validar is planning.
Me too. I guess we'll find out when we get there. Right, Robin?
Robin, are you okay?
Yeah. Something's wrong. What's the matter?
I just haven't been able to sleep well lately. My head.
You don't look well at all. You probably need rest.
You're right. I should probably sit out the next battle.
You're in no shape to protect yourself. I'll stay back and keep an eye on you.
Thanks, Crom.
We won't have to worry with Prom watching over you.
You can leave the dragon's table to us.
Actually, I've got something that needs my attention.
What? You aren't going to fight with us?
I'm sorry. I'll catch up with you later.
Very well. Come on, everyone. Prepare yourselves for the battle ahead.
Yeah, it really is not very good English-wise. It just... That voice actor strike really needs to come to an end at some point. They're not going to get the... They're not going to get the royalties they're asking for the games. They really aren't. It's just not going to happen. But anyway, since this is free mode, we can swap in whoever we want, and that's exactly what I plan on doing. So, let's get Camila out of here.
What is it? Of course.
And swap her with, Frederick, was it? Yeah, he's my guardian knight. He's the other person I gave my master seal to. Lissa can stick around. I do like Lissa. You just got to be careful I'm not carrying around too many axed dudes. That's magic, which is good against everything, thankfully, so I think I'll just keep her around as well. And I think, yeah, that'll actually do us. As for where I'm going to send them, that's a different story. Alright, you can go down there and secure those ruins for me.
Yes, sir.
Can't fly over that gap there because you need a flying character to get to that. We'll send him in here. We'll send her over here. And we start off as Liana, so we will go and just beat the crap out of everyone in here, even though we're not going to be weak to them. But it doesn't matter because we're 10 levels above them, we're going to wipe the floor with them anyway, because that's what stats do in this game. So let's just head straight in, not waste any more time, shall we? I said there were a couple of other things I would like to talk about, and I might as well talk about them now. The AI in this game is as stupid as ever. This includes your friendly allies, so it is entirely possible for them to just stand there and not do anything if they don't have any very specific order to do so, which is legitimately one of the most frustrating things ever, because sometimes the AI will retreat back to base if it's under threat, even when they're not really needed. Sorry. And sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll just stand around doing nothing, and it's really frustrating when they do. Because, you know, they could be useful just wandering around attacking anything in their particular range, which is basically the entire map, but you get my point. They could be wandering around doing anything, but they're not choosing to. They're just standing there, being annoying. Which is really frustrating. Alright, I'm gonna have to come in through the other way, aren't I, to get through this door. Bollocks to that. Hang on, there might be a gatekeeper on the other side here.
Let's go.
Nope, no gatekeeper. I'm gonna have to go all the way around. Bollocks to... Oh wait, no. There's an open door there. I can see it just barely on the map, because the map is kind of hard to see. So as I said, I did play this in handheld and I've been playing it in TV mode, and it works fine in both. Sure, the 30 FPS in portable mode is a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with, but it's not absolutely horrible. It's fine. It works. I have nothing really against it. And of course, you've been watching 720p 60 here, and it runs absolutely fine. I haven't noticed any major frame rate drops or anything that's particularly worth sounding the horns on. It's a decent enough implementation of the Warriors engine. And remember what I said about the game being hard? Well, I really wasn't being on hard. Well, as I said, the game is still relatively easy even on hard mode. Other than enemies just being annoyingly strong for no discernible reason. You can go and play the history mode to level up your dudes if you need to. You can take pretty much anybody into that. Like the 2 characters you get by default in that mode is the main lady and the main dude, the 2 main protagonists. But you can swap them out for literally anyone that you want, and there's no restriction whatsoever as far as I can tell, except for the missions that very specifically restrict you to certain things. Like sometimes you have to take along nothing but axes. Sometimes you have to take along nothing but sometimes you have to take along nothing but axes. Sometimes you have to take along nothing but different time periods. It's nothing particularly special. Elise, what are you doing back here? Go attack something, damn it. See what I mean when I say they just, like, run back for it? It's odd. What is she doing? No, what do I... Oh, you know what? You can go and attack that. Why not? But sometimes in the hard difficulty, there are things that just come out of nowhere that majorly piss you off. Like, for example, there's a level where you have to protect a lady. I can't remember her name. I think it was Cornelia. It's not Cornelia, because that's a planet from Star Fox. But it sounds like that. Camellia or something like that. But you have to protect her from getting attacked by some dudes. And if the dudes get to her, they'll literally one-shot her. It's ridiculous crap like that that makes hard mode hard. And I'm really not a fan of that sort of thing.
Unsaved.
We do some missions, so we get a free little, use caution when approaching the altar. Yeah, the poison fog, I remember.
That sounds like trouble. Thank you for the
Yeah, Cordelia, that's her name. There's a mission where you have to protect her, and there are literally archers that will kill her in one shot if they get to her. I was literally standing between the archers and her. They shot her through me, and that was what killed her and failed the mission on me. That was frustrating as hell. And I can't imagine, like, this isn't like mission 3. If they want to do that, then it's just like, what? Do you really want to make the game that ridiculous? Apparently they did. And of course, if your characters are too low level, they can get knocked out within like 5 or 6 hits. It's just... It really is just like a numbers game, and it's frustrating, honestly, just because of how much like a numbers game it really is. What else is there that I can say about this game that would be useful to people who like Warriors games? Oh yeah, the one, well, not one major thing, because it's not really that big of a deal, but as I said before, you can't swap weapons unless you swap to different characters, and the thing about different characters in this game is that, how do I put this, like, everyone who uses a sword, everyone who uses an axe, and everyone who uses a lance feels really similar. Now, I know this is a thing the Warriors games have been guilty of for the longest time, but it's something I've really come to notice in this game. I'm not going to say that it's this particular game that does that, because I might just be misremembering Samurai Warriors 4 or whatever. But it really does feel more similar than it usually does to use 2 characters with swords right after one another in comparison to, say, Dynasty Warriors, where you had a bunch of ridiculous weapons. Like, seriously, there's like 70 unique weapons in Dynasty Warriors 8. There's a bunch of weapons like that. So you have, like, I should probably tell my dudes to go do something. I wish they were intelligent enough to say... Oh dear. I don't have any flyers, do I?
I'll go.
Oh, that's gonna suck. Right. I'm gonna have to send them down the really long way.
What is it?
Right.
I hear you.
This is gonna be a really long walk, because I forgot I needed flyers for this one.
Sure thing.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm actually gonna play as him for a while. That sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
I'll just swap to him as soon as we get all the orders set up.
I'll go.
So it really does feel a bit more repetitive than your typical Dynasty Warriors game does. Just because of how the weapon system works. Since they're all carrying around basically the same set of axes or just whatever the hell you want to call it. Just the same set of weapons. It does feel kind of similar. Like, I'll give it credit. It's a bit different having to go around on horseback like this all the time. And the strong attacks are still fairly different between weapons. It just feels more similar than it's supposed to, or it usually does. It's just weird. I find it kind of hard to explain. Which means it probably isn't that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things. And I get why they've done it. I get why it is the way that it is, because it was never a particularly massive over-the-top series anyway, to my knowledge. I could be wrong about this. It was never horrendously over-the-top with the super weapons or anything like that, so everybody using just your regular sets of weapons, it makes enough sense to me to not annoy me too much in that sort of sense. But I'll be damned if it just doesn't feel that slight bit more repetitive than your typical Dynasty Warriors game. Just a touch. Wrong way. I have everybody set to auto attack, don't I? I do, except for release. Let's fix that. I say there's a problem with the AI, even though that AI thing is always there. Like, I did say that I have a problem with them not attacking, even though that AI system is there, and yet they're still just a bit dumb and just stand around doing nothing anyway for some reason.
Excellent.
Right, it'd be quicker to go the other way.
Yay! That went so well.
And as I said before, even on hard, it's really easy. Like, even taking the numbers into mind, it's just... Great, I have to come... Nope. I'm not actually going to be playing this again, I don't care. She can fade away. She goes away after like a minute or two. Nothing too massive.
I knew you'd come through, Frederick. Take some time for yourself.
Might as well help this guy out. What's Liana doing down here? Isn't she supposed to be on the... Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay.
We were told to watch out for some sort of...
I have no idea why she stopped there.
Enemy looks suspicious. Don't let it escape. There are strange tactics afoot.
The mission started.
Feed the mage to stop the poison fog, yeah. Can take care of that shortly. Liana, she's probably not gonna... Yeah, her orders have changed to guard instead of go on the attack, despite her auto battle thing being on attack, so I have to tell her to go attack again. It's... Seriously, I'm barely even trying. I'm paying no attention whatsoever. I mean, like, I admit I'm on a level that I'm probably over-leveled for, but this is pretty much how the game feels like anyway. So... whatever, more or less. Like, I find it hard to care. My dudes are all on the attack, so I might as well go and do something to help out myself, shall I? I could take her under my wing, but I'm not going to.
Guard yourself.
Fort is ours.
Yay, we have the fort.
Guard yourself.
There's always next time. I was expecting better results.
See, there goes Anna with with the bloody illustrations. I wish he actually gave you something useful.
Mission complete. I like those profit margins.
Time has come. Across. My turn.
Right, where's the last mage? Just down there. Let's swap to I'm bored. I'm bored out of my mind. I don't think this game does anything even remotely interesting for a Warriors game. I don't want to play it anymore. I mean, on a platform where I could go play 3 infinitely more interesting Warriors games, which is Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, despite that game not being very good, Samurai Warriors Spirit of Snars, not Spirits, or flippin', what's it called? Right, yeah, I remember. I have to go back and sort that out. Oh, yeah, he's the strongest one I've got. He's also probably going to be the fastest. So let's go back and take care of that, shall we? I remember that being a thing. If I don't get back there fast enough, I will fail the mission. And just while he's at it, just go and kick this guy's ass, please.
Yes? Okay.
I thought you were acting straight.
I'm bored. Like, it doesn't do anything interesting with the Warriors mechanics. Like, at all. It just strings together bare bones missions around side a Fire Emblem fan plot. I assume that's what it is. I don't even know if fans would like this because I'm not one myself. And I'm not going to say what the fans like, but it certainly feels like something that would appeal to a fan of Fire Emblem. But at the same time, you know, now that I think about it, this entire game is just kind of an anomaly. Like, think about it. You've got, what? Like, a hardcore, permadeath, tactical strategy game that gets, Warriors. A Warriors spin-off. Like, it kind of seems like the opposite of what you'd be aiming for there, honestly. At least with Zelda, it made some sort of sense, because that was a very, well, not a very, but a pretty heavily action-focused series to begin with. Fire Emblem just doesn't make that much sense when I think about it. So I'm not really sure what they're going on, what they're doing there. Just doesn't really make that much sense to me in the grand scheme of things. Problem solved.
Mission complete.
Robin, are you okay?
It doesn't do anything interesting with mechanics. It basically just feels like a straight visual reskin of DW8.
Thank the gods.
The voice acting's a bit crap. The story's just kind of there. The overall content is disappointing, and it just kind of makes no sense. Which, not exactly the thing you want to be saying about a game, huh? This game literally makes no sense, and I'm not entirely sure why it exists, other than to give Koei Tecmo a reason to send Omega Force to the grindstone for another 6 months. I mean, they're working on Dynasty Warriors 9, Attack on Titan 2, and assumedly a bunch of other games in the background as well. So, how do they have the time to make so many spin-offs? Oh yeah, they just copy and paste them over and over again. When Warriors is interesting, I like her. When it's this, it really isn't. Might as well do my awakening. No reason not to. I'll just orient myself in the right direction, lock on, and just come and beat the crap out of this guy. So even this little... Even the little meter that goes up around their heads when you hit them enough to like stun them and do a flurry of strikes, that's stolen from Dynasty Warriors 8 as well, more or less. But yeah, that's it. That is pretty much how my first few missions went down. When I went up to the bad guy and just did a Musou attack on them, they died immediately. If I had the right character, of course. If I was a couple of levels lower, they would take like 3, but... Look, you get the general idea. It's just... It really is just a reskin of stuff we've seen for years, and years and years and years.
We should seal this altar so it can never be used for this
And
ceremony.
I don't like it. I find myself not recommending it. I think it's really dull. I'm not gonna let that cutscene play out, but... Yeah, you just saw the spoiler that I skipped the cutscene to... oh well.
Give 110%.
It's alright, don't think too hard about it and you won't be spoiled. So... That really is it. Like, I've got nothing else to show you. It doesn't do anything that interesting at all. I don't know if it's good for people who like Fire Emblem, but I can't imagine why it would be. Unless you happen to really like both series and don't mind the fact that this is basically just a reskin of the thing you've been playing for the past 5 years with no mechanical variety whatsoever. Hell, it's a worse game than Hyrule Warriors just because it's got less stuff in it. And Hyrule Warriors with less stuff isn't exactly a game I would recommend. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.